You shared this Jon
Yeah.
Stewart thing, which was kind of thought provoking, so I appreciated it. So I'll let you take it away on just like your first thoughts and how you want to frame it.
Yeah, so it's Jon Stewart has an interview with the New Yorker, and Joe Rogan comes up essentially because I think John's been on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he said
I believe
twice.
that's
I didn't
right.
realize that. I don't think I've watched those. I haven't watched a
Not
lot of Joe Rogan, but
recently. I
okay.
couldn't tell you the last time Jon Stewart was on Joe Rogan. Maybe has it been recent? Hang on, let me look this up real quick.
Sure.
But anyways, they're interviewing, and the subject comes up 5 years ago. Was the last time he was on Joe Rogan, so that's a while ago. And I'm just surprised. So the guy who's interviewing for the New Yorker is basically like shitting on Joe Rogan and putting this onus of responsibility on Joe Rogan for platforming very unsavory people, which there is certainly something there, right? Especially with how big Joe is.
I was gonna say,
But
I
yeah,
wouldn't say shitting. If you disagree with how he frames it, that's fine. Disagree with it, but shitting is like. But go ahead.
um, did I say that again? Did I say
Like you
shitting?
said, the fact that he's shitting on Rogan. I do think that he doesn't necessarily like Rogan in the way that he talks about them. But it is what it is.
Okay.
People can just. I just hate the internet and how. Like the typical like liberal reporter, which this guy seems. I'm not trying to be offensive or whatever, but this guy seems
No,
like a typical liberal reporter. They always act like their snide is such a level that's disrespectful and fuck them. It's like, dude, he doesn't agree with you. It's fine. Like, if you don't like him because he doesn't agree with Rogan, fine. But he's not like an asshole or like shitty. That shit annoys me. It's just divisive. It's like this guy can be whatever the fuck he wants to be and comment on Rogan however he wants. And I guess what gets me is the whole like eviscerates titles online always and destroys. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't like him because he doesn't like Rogan. It's fine. But like, he has his opinion. Sorry, go ahead. Off the rails.
Off the rails. Off the rails is where you get in the weeds on the garbage. So there you go. But so Jon Stewart gives some pushback in the sense of like Rogan. Essentially, what he's saying is Rogan's audience and his appeal is due to the failures of mainstream media and like the trust that's been lost there.
That's part of it. I think that's part of it.
What else? What else would you say is the appeal of Joe Rogan?
There, in the first place, and it's the same thing with Trump and other people too, Bernie too. There's a way to communicate that makes it feel down to earth. That doesn't mean people are. Trump is not down to earth. He's an absolute like cosmopolitan scumbag. But there's a way to communicate that makes people feel like you're more down to earth. You're more just like the common person. And I think they all, including Joe, do a good job of that. So it's part of it. There's a lot of reasons why you would appeal. I think part of it is Joe used to actually be curious about cool topics and not say the same things over and over again. And so, like, there's probably people who still listen because of that in the hopes. Not even in the hopes, but I'm sure I don't listen to him, right? But I'm sure sometimes he still has on people that are interesting and he asks the right questions. And it's not about the fucking lockdowns and vaccines. That's what the shit gets too much. That's like nobody gives a fuck, bro. So I'm sure like people still, because you can pick whatever episodes you want to watch, right? So he has a large audience because I think over time he's done well with being curious. He's getting worse at it, but he's done well.
Yeah.
There is a part again that if you watch these, like, you ever watch these fucking like cable debate like segments where people are they're too buttoned up. It just feels like so like prim and proper for no reason. It just doesn't feel honest and like down, you know. So
yeah.
And like I do generally agree with John's point. I don't like Joe Rogan because, and I told you here, like the misinformation, the obsession with COVID and vaccines is so fucking annoying. Like, who cares? Well, no, it does matter because he says wrong shit, but I don't know why he's so hung up on it. I also want to point out that like Joe Rogan says shit like Tim Walz is evil. He's literally said that. That's dumb. That's fucking stupid. Canada is a
Yeah,
wasteland of communism, socialism,
yeah.
and obviously he's made a fucking job out of bashing California all the time. There was even a little tiff
Mm.
with him and Gavin Newsom, if you saw, and Gavin was like, "I'd come on, but you haven't invited me," and it's all fucking big dick measuring, but whatever.
Oh God.
But it's always what we're communicating about. Like, again, to the guy to the right can be that annoying liberal, like we said. But he does make it seem like he thinks Joe Rogan is like Alex Jones or Tucker Carlson, and that's not the case. That's not the case. So
Yeah, you could argue though that Joe Rogan's a bigger problem than Alex Jones in the sense that he has more pull on. He has more influence. Alex Jones
yes,
is not
I,
talking to a lot of
I
people.
think that's right on the things that he misinforms on, because he's so fucking obsessed with COVID and vaccines. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
On the things he
yeah,
misinforms on. Um, and he gets so
right. I
sensitive
mean,
about it
obviously,
too. I don't know if you saw a clip recently where one of his like plugs was on an episode of his, or maybe when they watch MMA. I don't know. I just saw clips of it, and he basically like patronized him by being like, "Oh, you're Mr. Scientist, Joe," and he got so mad because they were talking about
I did
vaccines, and he
too.
was more. Pro. Did you see that? Yeah, he was
I
more
did
like
too.
pro. He's like, "Oh, Mr. Scientist," and he got so butthurt. You could feel the energy of butthurt in that clip.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Because
on
he's
things
like,
like
"Don't do
that, I
that.
think,
Don't do that, because I could destroy you. I could destroy you." He says that.
yeah, he just got real fucking stupid. So on things like that, I
Yeah.
do think that you can delve into the more unsafe than Alex Jones. But I don't listen. I'm not in the business of. Again, this is where I really like the way Jon communicates things. It's all about how you communicate. You should be in the business of selling the right idea in a way that can resonate with people and help inform people correctly. Because it's always a slippery slope to be in the business of, well, that's wrong and we should censor it. That's always, and I know you agree with that. I'm not saying you don't, but that's always a slippery slope. So I like
Yep.
his energy pointed in the right direction with his communication of get out there and communicate correctly what you think the right message is. And if you used to have a society where there was rules that made it easier to be lame and be mainstream media in a way that's like too buttoned up, but because of controls and regs, the right communication still came across because you did that. But that's selling it that way isn't the way to do it anymore. Then you got to adapt. And again, to just
Well, sure.
complain
I
about
mean,
it.
we're never putting the genie back in the bottle that is the internet,
Right.
right? Like media,
He says,
having a standard of media is not going to be a thing anymore. It's
and
just
he
not.
says in this interview,
So,
John's like, everyone has a platform. So,
yes.
and
Yep.
that's right. Unfortunately,
That is right.
that's right. We could say
Uh,
unfortunately, but yeah.
I could definitely say unfortunately because
Right.
Candace Owens is a thing. You know what I mean?
Oh
So,
God. Brigitte Macron is a man. Okay.
have you seen her? Have you seen her new thing that she's on?
I don't. What is it? Go ahead.
There's a big conspiracy with Charlie Kirk and him being killed by them, quote unquote, if you can understand what that means. Because he was
Is
speaking
it
out against.
Jews? Is it Jews?
There you go. You got
Oh
it.
no.
You got it. And the
Just because
crazy
I
thing
know
is,
that world enough. Yeah, go ahead.
well, she gets millions of views on these videos, and the comment sections are
Oh,
full of people saying they're the problem. You know what I mean? Like that general vague they, where everybody knows what you're
that
talking about.
that's where you can get me with an argument of, well, can we not control it all when we enter these arenas? The grifters can just rack up views. So it doesn't feel like a fair
Yeah.
playing field. It doesn't.
It doesn't when you don't have to live in a world of reality. Yeah, no, it's
There
not a
that's a
fair.
great way to say it. That's a great way to say it. Right.
You get just
And
to
to
just
fight
say
for
whatever you
reality just
want.
feels exhausting as fuck, bro. It does,
It
dude.
does. I will say Jon Stewart's,
Yeah.
he's walking the walk here because he
Yep.
does the Monday show and Daily Show, and he pulls massive amounts of views as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you could argue it's.
Sure.
I don't know if it's as big as of a reach as Rogan, but he certainly has a big reach.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. It is tough because people just get to make their. I mean, I just
Dude, that's a great way of saying it. That's like when you have to fight for reality, you are always just 18 steps behind. You just are.
it does. It
Because
feels that.
people can just pull the strings in anyone's mind of like the easy ones where but I mean a better question is why is it so easy to get views if like you just hate Jews, right? Because like what about that is so enticing for people in such an easy way that it's easier than reality? Like, and I'm thinking of this the wrong way because I'm using my own brain to think of this, and that's not the right way. I could never understand these people because I'm trying to do it logically, but it's like, what about hating Jews benefits you as opposed to just living in reality? You know what I'm saying? Don't know. Don't know.
Yeah.
And you couldn't catch me hating people I've never met. Just don't understand how this ticks. Almost like studies should be done, but whatever.
Wow. Confirm that side does not hate Hitler. That's crazy. That's a crazy.
I'm
take,
unsure how that's the takeaway, but I apologize for that if that's the takeaway because that is not what I was going for.
You can't hate him because you don't know him. You can't hate him because you don't know him.
So that is a good point, and that only you're such an ass. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm not gonna designate your trolling, anyways.
Just John.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm very sympathetic to what John says here because ultimately the answer is censorship, and like I just don't
That's
like
what I'm saying.
the
Right.
online media landscape is so turbulent, but who are you gonna leave it up
And
to?
to me, the man on the right
regulate it?
doesn't filter what he says on topics like this through a hey, like I am pro freedom of speech and I do not like censorship at all as much as John and me and you do. That just does. It's just how it's just, and again, it goes back to a lot of things, but a big one is what John says. It's like everyone has a platform. So what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Everyone has. So if this is the way it's going to be, then, and the only other option is censorship, then you got to fight. No, you just got to fight. But yeah, you still got to navigate for sure, but you got to fight because obviously not everybody can just espouse their opinions and be entertaining or be, communicating in a way that it has a positive effect on like what you're trying to sell. Because how many people would claim they're a leftist and then you watch them say something about, and you're just like, wow, like you cannot, just no charisma. I absolutely agree with you, but, if you just, and it's kind of Bernie Sanders' problem. He has an appeal. Yeah, but his ceiling is definitely the fact that, like, he's older. You can't get away from being old. It just is what it is, dude.
Well, sure, the aesthetics are unwelcome.
Because Mamdani is Bernie Sanders. But there's so much energy for Mamdani, right? That there isn't, like, because there's just other factors. Like Mamdani, would I sleep with Mamdani? Yes, I would. And so this actually affects people's, see? Other people think the same way, though. And they're like, oh, okay.
Sure. I will say I usually get frustrated with, because like the most, like we're in the era of Trump, you're just begging for any Democrat to just grow a pair and, have a strong presence, use your voice a lot. And there's just not a lot of that.
But what does that mean, though? Because a lot of Democrats try to use their voice and grow a pair, but they don't stand on selling something. They just stand against something. And that's not going to work.
Sure, they're very unconvincing, is what I'm trying to say.
The reason why I think Zoran works is because whatever you think of his plan, and you might think, I'm a conservative, he's going to crash and burn. That's fine. But he still is saying, I'm going to do something where, like, we can have city-owned grocery stores that could price control better, right? So there's actually something that he can do that he's telling you he'll do instead of, well, Republicans are bad. Trump is bad. It's like, okay, but what the fuck? We've talked, and me and you have talked about this. Like, I feel like we do every week because a lot of it comes back to it. But yeah.
Well, because to me, like, I'd rather you be trying something than nothing at all. Than just like, hey, we're not Republicans. That is not a
Correct.
strong
There
platform.
are enough
I do think
people, if
too.
he wins in the polls that I'm seeing, there are enough people that will abandon him if his ideas don't work and follow through. There are, but he is
Sure.
getting more and getting excitement because he's saying we can do this thing, and I'm going to try to make it happen. Free busing, he said. You know what I'm saying?
At least
By
he's
making
trying anything.
You got
At
it.
least he's trying anything.
You got it. Now he's more on my
Um,
side of the political scale, so we wish him well. But yeah, go ahead.
We do wish him well, because otherwise you'll set back those ideas for a bit.
Right.
If
However
it's a
long it is, X
disaster,
amount of
then,
time, but it still does get set back a bit. Sure.
yeah. Which kind of leads me into. So Trump has brought up nuking the filibuster, and I know this is a bit of an aside. I guess this is more in the vein of like, at least you're doing anything. But Trump has brought up nuking the filibuster to get past this shutdown, and I wanted to see what you thought about that. 'Cause
I will direct you to my
I'm in
thoughts
favor
on our
of it.
Senate conversation the other week. I am fine with nuking the filibuster.
Okay,
It's
sure,
more.
sure.
It's just. We've talked about the balance between democracy and efficiency. And like, obviously, authoritarian governments can just do whatever the fuck they want at any point, and that way they can be more nimble, right? I do support. I mean, I told you I support a parliamentary system, but I do support anything that would inch us towards more of a democracy state. Like,
Sure.
filibuster's dumb. Get rid of it. I don't give a shit. Because guess what? If they did and they passed a CR, okay, good for you. That means you're not going to do anything about these subsidies on the ACA, and a lot of working class people are going to get fucked, and they're going to know who did it. They're going to know who did it.
Yep.
So go ahead and do it. Go ahead. That's not going to
agree.
help them. That's not going to help.
Well, what I
Yeah.
was going to say is I think he should be careful what he asks for, because all of a sudden you have no excuse anymore to not hammer your legislation through. And now you actually have to show the fuck up with a healthcare plan, right? The one
And
that
they
he
won't.
said was 2 weeks ago in 2015, right? Because they have nothing.
You know what?
So
They're not
for
even going
me,
to try.
like-
They're going to turn around and say, "Oh, it was in the BBB," because idiots think, "Oh, they just did good things, right?" Well, they fucking cut Medicaid big time. But go ahead.
Sure, yeah. And that's going to be felt. So when you actually have to implement the real policy that you have behind you, like, people are going to feel it.
Mhm.
So to me, I think it's a dumb move for him to try and nuke the filibuster, because then he'll actually have to pass legislation. People will actually look. You have no excuse anymore. You don't get to just blame the Democrats for doing nothing besides passing tax cuts.
Right.
You actually have to govern.
Yep. Yep.
So I think he's just playing with fire there. I think he needs to capitulate.
And I
He
will continue to be just floored by the fact that Donald Trump, out of all the presidents in our lifetime at least, had the best chance at really breaking our democracy in super negative ways and taking power for himself if he delivered for the peons first. But he comes out the door and he's just all about his millionaires and billionaire friends, and he's fucking the poor and the working class every turn he gets. If he didn't do that, he had a real chance to even consolidate power and have one of these weird European style, or we've seen them happen to democracies that can stand for a long time but still somehow, like, not topple, but like, he has such a rabid base. If you added that into actually, like, delivering for working and poor in, like, ways for a year or two, dude, he could have, like, he's unaccountable to anything, so he has that power, is what I'm saying, that nobody else has had, because he doesn't,
Right.
he never has to be accountable.